The sound cut through the applause like a knife. 5,000 people in the San Francisco Convention Center went silent. The screens behind the stage still displayed Sterling Tech presence, the future of AI, but nobody was looking at them anymore. They were staring at the stage where Mr. Sterling, the billionaire tech genius, had just struck his business partner across the face. Carson stumbled backward, his hand flying to his cheek, his microphone clattering to the floor. The CEO of their biggest competitor sat in the front row, a laptop open on his lap, his face frozen in shock. "You sold it," Sterling said, his voice shaking with barely controlled rage. "You sold my life's work to them." "Sterling, wait. Let me." Carson's voice cracked through the speakers. 3 years. Sterling's voice rose. 3 years I trusted you. And you've been selling our code to Apex Industries this entire time. The audience erupted in whispers. Phones came out. Cameras flashed. This wasn't just a slap. This was the tech world's biggest scandal unfolding in real time. Carson held up his hands, trying to smile, trying to play it off. "Everyone, please, this is a misunderstanding." "Is it?" Sterling pulled a USB drive from his pocket and held it up. "Then explain this. Explain why our entire neural network architecture is running on their servers. Explain why our proprietary algorithms showed up in their patent filing last week." At this moment, if you're watching this video, pause and hit that like button, subscribe, and share this story with your friends. Comment below. Would you have had the courage to speak up if you were Maya? Would you risk everything to expose the truth? Carson's fake smile vanished. "You don't understand the pressure I was under. The board wanted faster results. They wanted, so you stole from me?" Sterling's voice went quiet, which somehow made it more terrifying. "You sold 5 years of my research for what? Money? Recognition? It wasn't like that." Carson's composure cracked. "I was trying to save the company. Your vision was too expensive, too slow. We were bleeding money. We were building something revolutionary." Sterling shot back. "Something that could change the world. And you traded it for a quick payout." Maya stood backstage, her intern badge hanging crooked on her lanyard, her whole body shaking. She had known this would happen. She had been the one to give Sterling the evidence. But watching it explode on stage, in front of thousands of people, in front of the entire tech industry, made her feel like she might throw up. A security guard touched her arm. "Miss, you should probably leave." "No," Maya whispered. "I need to see this." Sterling turned slowly, scanning the crowd until his eyes found her standing in the wings. "Do you want to know who discovered the truth? Do you want to know who had the guts to expose this?" Carson followed his gaze, his eyes widening when he saw Maya. "No, not her. She's nobody. She's just an intern." "She's the intern you forgot existed," Sterling said coldly. "The one who had access to the backup servers. The one who saw everything." Every head in the auditorium turned toward the stage wings. Maya felt 5,000 pairs of eyes on her. Her legs almost gave out. "Come here, Maya," Sterling said gently. She shook her head. "I can't." The auditorium exploded. People shouted. Cameras flashed like lightning. Security guards rushed toward the stage. Sterling laughed bitterly. 20 million. You sold everything we built for 20 million. Do you know what this company is worth? What it would have been worth when we launched today? 200 billion. You traded the future for pocket change. I needed the money. Carson's composure shattered completely. "You don't understand. I had debts, gambling debts, and they were going to..." "So you destroyed everything?" Sterling's voice cracked. "You destroyed 5 years of work? You destroyed the dreams of every employee in this company? You destroyed my trust." Maya watched Carson fall apart on stage. Part of her felt sorry for him. But then she remembered the late nights Sterling had spent in the lab, the passion in his voice when he talked about changing the world, the hundreds of employees who would lose their jobs when this news went public. "I didn't want to tell anyone," Maya said quietly, but the microphone caught it. "When I found the files, I was terrified. Mr. Carson is powerful. He could have destroyed my career before it even started. I'm just a college student doing an internship. Who would believe me? Why did you come forward?" A reporter shouted from the crowd. Maya's voice trembled. "Because I kept thinking about all the people who believed in this company. all the engineers who worked weekends, all the investors who trusted us with their money, all the customers who were waiting for this technology. She looked at Sterling, and I thought about Mr. Sterling, how he gave up everything to build this, how he believed in making something that mattered. I couldn't let Mr. Carson destroy that. Sterling's eyes glistened. She came to my office at 3 in the morning. She had printed out every piece of evidence, every email, every transfer log, every payment record, and she handed it to me and said, "I'm so sorry, sir. Wish I wasn't right." Carson sank to his knees on the stage. "Please, Sterling, I'll pay it back. I'll make it right." "You can't make this right," Sterling said quietly. "You killed this company. The moment this news goes public, our stock will crash. Our partnerships will dissolve. Years of work gone." 2 federal agents appeared at the side of the stage. Carson's face went white. What's happening?" "Corporate espionage is a federal crime," Sterling said. "I called the FBI before I called you on stage." As the agents put handcuffs on Carson, the auditorium remained silent. The biggest tech launch of the decade had turned into the biggest scandal of the decade. Sterling turned to the crowd, his voice heavy. "Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize. Today was supposed to be a celebration. Instead, you witnessed a betrayal. But I want you to know something." He gestured to Maya. This young woman, barely 22 years old, had the courage to do what was right even when it could have cost her everything. She's what this industry should be about. Not greed, not shortcuts, but integrity. If you're watching this, think for a moment. Would you have had the courage to step forward like Maya? Comment below what you would have done in her place. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story so others can see the power of honesty and courage. The crowd started applauding, slowly at first, then building into a roar. Maya stood there, overwhelmed, as thousands of people stood to their feet. 6 months later, Maya walked into the rebuilt Sterling Tech headquarters. Her intern badge was gone. In its place was a full employee ID that read, Maya Rodriguez, Chief Security Officer. Sterling had rebuilt the company from the ground up. New code, new security, new trust. And Maya had been at the center of it all, designing systems to make sure what Carson did could never happen again. She stopped in front of a framed news article on the wall. Tech Intern exposes billion-dollar theft. She barely recognized the scared girl in the photo. Her phone buzzed. A message from Sterling. Board meeting in 10. They want to hear your new encryption proposal. You ready? Maya smiled. Ready. The scandal that had almost destroyed Sterling Tech had instead transformed it. Because one person had chosen truth over safety. Because one intern had decided that integrity mattered more than fear. If you've watched this far, take a moment to reflect. Would you have had the courage to step up like Maya? What would you have done if you saw something that could destroy someone's life? Comment below your thoughts. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story so others can see the power of honesty, courage, and standing up for what's right. Who knows? Your small act might just change the world too. As Maya headed to the boardroom, she thought about that night 3 weeks ago when she discovered the theft. She'd been so scared, so sure she'd be ignored or destroyed for speaking up. But she'd learned something important. Sometimes the smallest voice can stop the biggest betrayal. Sometimes courage isn't about being fearless. It's about being terrified and doing the right thing anyway.